Hello, Craig.
Hello, Colin.
We are continuing our never-ending, sprawling talk about the MCU, Craig, and now we're on Phase 2, which began with Iron Man 3, that did come out in 2013. So let's just get right into it, Craig. What did you think of Iron Man 3 for 2013?
I thought it was good. I know this is a more divisive movie, but twist aside, I thought it was a good movie.
I enjoyed it a lot too. I think a lot of people who, putting aside the twist, which we'll get into, they'll say it's unanimously usually the second best Iron Man movie. I really enjoyed it too. I enjoyed it when it came out. I thought it was pretty good when it came out. And I think it
Yes.
still holds up pretty well today. Even though I do have some minor complaints with things that what this movie did would affect the rest of the MCU for years to come. But at the time, it wasn't a big deal. So I guess let's just get into. You know what, Craig? How about we continue our pauses? What did you really like? What didn't you like? Tell me.
Well, a lot of it was Tony Stark. I know he's not in the suit a lot, but seeing him be able to still be here without the suit, because that's kind of the point, not just the movie, but of the character, that he is the hero, not the suit. I guess this is probably the best war machine we ever got in the MCU.
Yeah,
Doesn't feel
yeah.
completely useless.
I like the banter between them in this one. It doesn't get ever annoying, and again, I've throughout this whole history of this program, Craig, I always bring up the infamous cheese whiz line that I absolutely hate from Endgame. He doesn't do that in this, and he actually is pretty useful in this movie too. And like you said, I
Yes.
like that Tony Stark is kind of stripped away from his suit, and as you said, it's not the suit that makes him the hero. He's the hero, and he has to use his surroundings and he has to build stuff to survive. So I thought that was really well done and neat too.
And kind of how Iron Man's character changed after the Avengers. All the other people on the team are either assassins or war veterans or Norse deities. So to them, that's just another Thursday. But for Iron Man to actually see something of this magnitude affect him, you could see, I mean, obviously it affected him, but you could see why it would affect him. Somebody who's usually in control of everything, a control freak, thinks he can plan ahead for everything, be so unprepared for something like that, and see more, a glimpse of what could come. So you could see why he's freaked out and probably suffering from a little PTSD.
How did you escape the wormhole?
How did you get out the wormhole?
So this
Kid
movie
knows the
was
trigger words.
this movie was written and directed by or co-written by Shane Black, who I absolutely adore. I love his movies, except The Predator. That was not very good. But The Nice Guys, obviously. This Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, I love.
Bobby Mills.
And he has that trademark humor, the banter in this movie, the jokes. They got a couple chuckles out of me.
Only put more of those into the Predator.
Well, the Predator had a lot of quips and jokes. They just weren't well done. But yeah, the action sequences too are a lot of fun. The Air Force One action sequence where he has to save everybody by them linking up. Like I think Tony said, the monkey in a barrel, the way their arms are, they linked up.
Yeah, when
And
you
I
put the
think
monkey in
most
and
of
the
that
monkeys.
was real. I think they actually shot most of that for real.
What do you mean for like people falling?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. I got to do my research, but I think that was mostly real. Obviously, the Iron Man inserts and the robot flying around was fake, but
as real as it can be.
yeah, in a $200 million movie, it looked pretty good. The CGI too. Even though I guess I'll bring up my complaint that kind of doomed some of the MCU is this: the Iron Man suits in this look so flimsy, and I know it's because they're able to quickly fall apart and get on Stark. I don't know if I never really liked that because we always mention I like the Iron Man design suit from the first movie to the Avengers, the first one. I thought that's peak Iron Man suit. It's bulky and it looks great. And then this one is when they kind of started realizing, we don't have to. Robert Downey Jr. doesn't have to wear the suit anymore from just for his chest. I think they didn't even build any physical suits in this movie.
Not just that, but the design of it. It was a very beige color for this movie, which is so ugly.
I'll just talk about that the suits look more skinny now. I don't like that. I never liked that.
Well, I think it's a two-headed monster. Like if they were still the right color, I feel like we would tolerate it better. But they pick a worse color, and they never really fixed it. It was always just ugly from here on out.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I'm sure I know the color bothers you. The color didn't bother me. It's just that the suit looks weak. It's flimsy, and I don't like that it fall apart easily. Even though that's the point of the suit, it comes on command. It builds on him. I don't like that. Is what I'm saying. I don't like that.
Well, it goes into the final fight too, where how flimsy it were. Like he's just chopping them in half like it's paper.
I thought the finale was fun though. All the suits he was using.
Yeah, quickly swapping between each new suit.
Yeah, I thought that was most of the movie's well done. And Craig, I guess now, unless you have any more positives, we could talk about the Mandarin twist that everyone absolutely hated, or at least the hardcore fans absolutely hated.
Yes. For people who, for some reason, are watching this and didn't see the movie, Iron Man's archenemy, the Mandarin, was a fake. The real villain was Aldrich Killian the whole time. And as he tells you point blank at the end of the movie that he is the real Mandarin, that seemed to upset a lot of people.
Yes, because Craig, why don't you indulge the audience on who the Mandarin is from the comics?
He's Iron Man's archenemy, but I know there's some concern about adapting him because if you saw the original Mandarin, it's, let's just say, not in touch with today's climate. So I think there was some hesitation to using him. I know they've updated him to be a little less, uh,
Stereotypical, I guess
yes.
is a better word.
But Iron Man's rogues gallery, as they say, is not the best. And even though that is Iron Man's archenemy, people don't feel as strongly as about other characters like Batman and the Joker, or Captain America and the Red Skull, or Superman and Lex Luthor. Like those guys go incredibly well together. It's,
Hmm.
fire, water, and oil. They're the polar opposites, but they need each other. Iron Man and the Mandarin never really felt like that, at least for me, and I think a lot of fans kind of agree. Iron Man's biggest enemy has always been himself
Well, yeah,
and the
especially
problems he
in the
causes other
comics.
heroes.
Yeah, I'm not a big Tony Stark comic book guy. I don't know all of the comic book stuff, but a lot of his villains are derivative. Aside from, I guess you could say the Mandarin, because he has the magic rings. Ironmonger, Chris, was it
The Crimson Dynamo, the
Crimson
Titanium
Dynamo,
Man.
Titanium Man? Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's others that are the
Norman
exact same.
Osborn, the Iron Patriot. He gets his own suit. Even though I don't think he's an Iron Man villain, but he gets the Iron Patriot suit.
Yeah, a lot of, and some other just weird characters like,
Whiplash. Remember when we did Iron Man 2 video, Craig? You told me that he was just some lunatic with actual whips. The movie designed it where it was like an arc reactor with electrical whips, which wasn't better. I mean, it's a little better, but it's still silly.
and to people saying you don't know what you're talking about, there's not a lot of derivative villains. I will counter that where there's a very famous storyline called Armor Wars where he goes and takes out villains who have very similar armor suits like his own suit.
I do
So they
remember
even
hearing about
referenced
that.
this already. So the people say, "Oh, that's not true." This storyline came out, I think, in the late '80s, early '90s,
I'll fact check it for you, don't
late
worry.
'80s, yes. So people who are being naysayers, it's already happened. People already knew that too many derivative villains were out there.
Yeah, and I think that's what we talked about in Iron Man 2 review, is that they were kind of in a hole because the first movie you introduce everything and you have a derivative villain. Or not derivative. In that movie it's not derivative. In the second movie it's a little derivative because I think Daniel said that he should have had Crimson Dynamo and I said, well, they don't want to repeat the Ironmonger, even though at face value with the arc reactor technology with Whiplash, it's kind of the same thing again. He just
But
has a
with
dumb
whips.
yeah, it's a dumb gimmick with electrical whips where he's easily subdued. And even at the end, he gets a giant suit with electrical whips. So I applaud that this movie at least had a different villain who could do different things and was very, what's the word, potent to Iron Man's suits.
And it's better too because he was outside of the suit most of the time. He felt much more vulnerable because his suit's pretty OP in the MCU. So the fact that they were constantly hunting him without the suit made it even more threatening.
Yes, and Tony gets to show off his big brain because he is very smart, he's very tech savvy, he can create weapons, he's very tactical, so that was all well done. Even though I think Tony as a human killed a bunch of people at the mansion where Trevor Slattery was hiding at. He threw so this guy gets it into the pond right before he enters
Yeah.
the house, and he throws like a little bomb into the water. And correct me if I'm wrong, Craig, but if you are submerged underwater and a bomb goes off, like a little explosion, that can kill you, right? I know it can kill fish, where people throw like firecrackers or little explosives into a pond, and it can kill the fish.
Yes, it could kill him. I don't. It looked like he dropped a Christmas ornament, so maybe it was.
Well, that was when he first started. So it's some kind of explosive charge that can be very fatal, especially to fish in water. I don't know the exact science know-how. I don't know. I just see videos of this. I'm like, wow, that's pretty messed up. But he
Well, I
just
think
does
what
it
makes it worse.
so callously. He just chucks it behind him without even looking, and he just
What
kills
makes it worse, I'm
somebody.
pretty sure the guy's head fell in the water first and he threw it right in front of his face. It's like Spider-Man 3 where the thing blows up in his face.
Yeah.
Probably like that.
Very
Except
little
Iron Man doesn't
regard
have
Tony
his
had.
black hair
And
combed
in
over.
And also, I was pressing X for doubt, even though it's a Marvel movie. When they're in Tennessee and he's fighting, I forget what the lady's name, but let's call her Pyro Lady at that restaurant. And then he puts the chain tags into the microwave and it blows up. He doesn't even have his legs covered. He just uses that ice vault thing, the thing you get ice out of at liquor
Yeah, to protect
stores,
his
and
face.
yeah, and it didn't even protect his legs. And I don't know, that's a
Well,
nitpick that doesn't affect the movie, but made me chuckle a little bit. It's like, wow.
well, at the very least, he's covering his more important organs like his chest and his face. Like if you get a little scratch in your leg, it's not the end of the world versus getting stabbed in the chest.
Unless a big piece of debris, Craig, comes flying in and hits your artery in your leg.
True, but your leg is not as important as your chest.
Okay, sure. So going back to the Mandarin twist, when I first saw this, Craig, I was genuinely surprised.
Yes,
I
so
was
was
still
I.
confused. I was like, wait, is this a ploy? So I think people, even if you're the biggest Mandarin fan or even the biggest Iron Man comic book fan, I think you have to applaud the movie for fully committing to the twist. It wasn't wishy-washy. They fully committed it, and I think it's well done because I don't think anyone really saw it coming.
Yes, I was fully surprised too. You were thinking that he was going to appear at some point at the end of the movie, and they kind of did retcon that, but for the most part, this movie never really went back on it. It took them a while to go back
Yeah,
on
the
it.
Shang-Chi did that, I think, right?
Well, before that, there was a one shot where I forget what movie it came out with, but I think it was called Return of the King or something about the actor guy, and he was kidnapped by terrorists from connected to the Mandarin, saying, "We're mad that you took his name," even though he was just the actor, he wasn't actually playing anything.
Hmm.
So I think they quickly knew that people were upset by it, and they tried to course correct, but no one really saw that. People barely know that exists. People now know he's from the Shang-Chi movie.
Yeah. And then I saw Shang-Chi. He was actually had a little bit of a role in it, and I don't know. That's somebody you don't have to bring back at all. Like
It's called All Hail the King, right?
I have no idea. I didn't see that. I saw Shang-Chi and he was in it, and I was thinking, why is this guy here?
Yeah, he probably should not be real, but I don't know. They kind of wrote themselves into a corner.
So let me ask you this: is the Mandarin really that big of a comic book villain that would warrant people getting upset?
Well, he's Iron Man's supposed arch enemy, so it's not just a villain, it's Iron
Is
Man's
the
most
okay?
famous villain.
I guess I could see why, but let's not pretend that the MCU has been extremely faithful to the comics. Even up until this point, let's not pretend like they have, so I don't know why. It's just a different interpretation of the character, and it was all in service of the story. It wasn't like it was being, I don't know. Did you ever see that movie Breakfast at Tiffany's?
What is that?
It is infamous where they had, I forget, I think Al Rooney, or I forget the guy's name. He did a very stereotypical performance of a Japanese man in that movie, and
Oh my God.
Mickey Rooney, that's the name. It's not like they did that or anything in this, but I don't know. It's in service of the story, and it worked. I have no problem with it. Again, I guess I should say, I don't know the comics too well with Iron Man. Don't really care about his villains. Mandarin is in Marvel 10 Alliance. That is true. You do fight him, but oh, Ultimo, Craig. That's another kind of Iron Man knockoff, right?
Well, yeah, but that's his robot.
Oh, whatever. I remember fighting him in that game too. But to me, again, I didn't bother me. Didn't bother me at all.
And not to say it was perfect, but at this point in the MCU, Iron Man just completed his trilogy. He never got another solo movie after this. So even if they wanted to bring him back, I don't know when would be the good time to. I know they brought him back for Shang-Chi, but no one thinks of him as a Shang-Chi villain. Shang-Chi's not even like a main character. It's Iron Man, it's his villain, and that was the time to do it. So if they didn't do it now, they were never going to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, we were right, of course, and of course that's how it happened.
I'm kind of surprised that they never decided to do an Iron Man movie because
Iron Man
this,
4.
yeah, an Iron Man 4 because this one grossed 1.2 billion dollars, Craig. It got pretty good reviews at the time. It has a 79% Rotten Tomatoes, a 7.1 out of 10 on IMDb. So it did pretty well critically, financially, so
I
I
want to
don't know.
mention something about the financial stuff.
Okay.
I remember when this came out, people were still in the DC versus Marvel stages of the comic book movies
Oh,
before Marvel
yes.
just killed DC.
Yes.
They were saying this only did well because this was riding the coattails of the Avengers. And people said that with a straight face, not remembering that this came out over a year or almost a year after the Avengers movie. Like, I don't know what kind of hype you could carry into a year later movie, but people legitimately thought that it was because of the Avengers that made this movie. The hype of the Avengers made this movie more popular. It's not like this Ant-Man made $1 billion. Iron Man was pretty successful already.
Yeah. Well, to counter that to people who say that, not only do they not know how it works, but also Captain Marvel is a perfect example of that. Because Captain Marvel was a month before, right? Didn't Captain Marvel come out in March? And then
It was
Avengers
like,
Endgame came out at the end of April.
yeah, so
So
about two
nearly
months.
almost 2 months. That is an example of that because that is a forgettable movie that barely crossed over $1 billion. And at the time, I remember, Craig, you sent articles or whatever that Disney may allegedly have been buying tickets to make the movie look like it's actually grossing more. Now, whether or not that's true, I don't know. I'm just telling you what I heard
Well, yeah,
allegedly.
people were saying the numbers weren't adding up. They're on
Yeah.
their abacus, not the numbers weren't adding up.
Kowalski, pull out that abacus. But yeah, I think that's a silly argument to make. I think what people have to realize is that you have to create the trust in the brand when you're releasing these kind of movies. And up until this point, people generally liked the MCU. Obviously, the Avengers was a big hit, so
Like, I'm
people
not going to
wanted to see
say,
more.
yes, I'm not going to say the Avengers had no effect on this, but to say the Avengers are the only reason why it did well is just complete lunacy.
Yes, everyone liked Iron Man. They wanted to see more, and
I mean, but to this point in time, too, this was his fifth appearance.
yeah.
So he was the main character at this point in time.
And who doesn't like Tony? Who doesn't like RDJ? Yeah, I thought it. Yeah, $1 billion.
And this really what made Marvel the powerhouse that it was. And they tried more. That's when the Ant-Man came out. That's when Guardians came out. But they're really trying to branch out, not just the main core Avengers.
And those
So
movies were successful in their own right.
I wonder if like this was what gave them the confidence to really start branching out.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if there were any behind the scenes issues because, again, when we talked about our first Iron Man video, we said how Marvel and mostly Kevin Feige learned all of the wrong lessons from the disaster that was Iron Man, like the production at least, where there wasn't a finished script, there wasn't a lot of planning, it was all like essentially improv. And Kevin Feige said, "Hey, this disaster, I liked it. Let's do it again, and let's keep doing it. Let's do it for almost 20 years." You see that, and then they're still doing it for Doomsday, and I don't understand. I really don't. So I'm curious what or if any kind of behind the scenes issues there were with this movie.
Well, I did hear about one.
Oh, tell me.
So, for those of the uninitiated with the Marvel production story, I don't even know if you know this, Colin. There used to be a committee of writers and producers trying to plot out plot points for the MCU. It wasn't just Kevin Feige running everything. There was this committee that was kind of trying to keep everything on track.
Okay.
And it was run by this guy called Ike Perlmutter, or not run by, but he had a huge influence in it. And one of the big things that behind the scenes is in the original Extremis storyline, Maya Hansen is the villain, not Aldrich Killian. I think Aldrich Killian dies within the first issue, where he dies really early on in the story. I never
But
read
he's
it.
from AIM, so did the movie get that right at least?
I don't even think he's from AIM.
Oh, is he just
I
some
mean,
guy? What is he? Who is he in the comics?
so from what I remember from the Extremis stuff, he and Maya Hansen worked together to develop it, and then he dies early in the story. Then he realizes that Maya Hansen was behind everything, and she was the main villain for the most part for that story. But when it came to adapting this, like Perlmutter said, we can't have a female villain because you can't sell toys of a female character, so let's make the guy the villain. Which I can understand to a certain
Interesting.
extent, but that was one of the big behind the scenes, and that was, I think, one of the major points where I think Feige got rid of the committee and he became fully in charge. Because the transition happened fully by the time Civil War came out.
Interesting. So they dumped Maya Hansen as the main villain so they could sell more toys?
Yes.
Huh. I mean, looking at it face value, I liked this. I liked Aldrich Killian as a villain. Is he the best in the MCU? No. But I thought he was serviceable. I thought he was good. Even if his little cronies were a little generic.
Well, I don't think this is the instance of this was really the worst possible decision because both of those characters in the comic they're not major reoccurring characters. I think they've only really appeared in that one story.
I
So it's not
honestly
like
thought they were made up, if I'm being real.
yeah, so replacing Maya with Aldridge, I don't really think would have changed much. And vice versa, replacing him with her really wasn't going to change much because they weren't even fully adapting the story anyway. They were just characters from that story.
Right.
Because in the comic, the Extremis was like I think embedded into Iron Man's bones and skin. Like the armor would come out through his skin onto his body.
Ugh.
Yeah, so it wasn't like this in the movie because I feel like that would have been a leap too far. Even the nano stuff is a leap too far for me. So having it be embedded into his bones might have freaked people out.
That would have been disgusting.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Ugh. Well, I'm glad they didn't go that route with the suit coming out of his skin and bones. Ugh. So what
Definitely
else?
a change for
Yeah.
the best.
What else did this committee do?
To be honest, I'd have to look, but the big thing why they lost power was in Civil War, they did not want to bring back RDJ because he wanted too much money. Then Feige got them ousted because, like, how do you not want Iron Man in this movie?
Yeah, seriously.
Because I know this is going into more Civil War stuff, but Marvel, they had planned if Iron Man wasn't going to be in it, then it would be more about Zemo, and I think someone else would have filled in for Iron Man.
Like Thor?
Yeah, because I thought it was like penny pinching, stuff like that.
Who else? Let's look at other things in this movie.
Well, this was the first movie that really, I mean, I guess you'd say Avengers, but this had their relationship, Iron Man and Pepper, and this is probably the best relationship in the MCU because everything else was either non-existent or
They lacked chemistry. Thor and
yeah.
Jane.
Yeah, that's probably one of the worst. I mean, the other good one was probably Cap and Peggy, more for the tragedy aspect of it.
Right. But this one was the most consistent where
Yeah.
I think Pepper has probably the third or whatever how many appearances in the MCU. She's up there. She's in a lot of these movies, even if it's brief. I got a chuckle out of me when Maya Hansen walks into the house with Pepper and Tony arguing. She's like, "Is that bunny supposed to be big?" And Tony just says, "It's a big bunny. Relax about it."
It's a big bunny. Relax about it.
Just a little Shane Black quips, because another part I liked is when we forgot to mention that a good portion of this movie is Tony with the kid Harley in Tennessee, and they got a chuckle out of me when the kid Harley's trying to guilt trip Tony because Tony's gonna go do his good guy stuff. He has to drive away, and then the kid says, "Oh, we're connected," and he tries guilt tripping Tony, and Tony says, "You know how I know you're guilt tripping me? Because we're connected," and he just drives away.
You know how I can tell? Because we're connected.
He said before that, he said, "Get out of the way, I'm gonna run you over."
Move out of the way, I'm gonna run you over. Bye, kid.
So cold.
Just like that little kind of, I don't want to say dumb humor, but those little quips they always get a chuckle out of me.
Yeah.
And RDJ plays it perfectly.
So Pepper was, I think, well received, and she definitely was one of the better characters. What about the kid? Did you like the kid in the movie?
Thought he was okay. I didn't have any issues with him.
Yeah, I don't know. I just didn't really care for it.
Yeah, it felt a little gimmicky to have the kid, but it wasn't annoying by any means. But I think
it also felt a little rushed.
Yeah, because he's not really with the kid for a whole lot.
Yeah, just in the Tennessee section of the movie, then immediately, all right, Lee, I'm going to get some cigarettes. See ya.
Essentially.
Because some of the stuff too felt forced when he was saying he meets the kid and because he's a genius, he's like, "Oh, who's bullying you?" Like he knows that he's getting bullied by just looking at him. It's not like he has a kick me sign in his back.
He didn't even have like a black eye or anything, or bruised chin, cuts on his face. Yeah,
There's nothing there, and he's just because he's smart, he knows. I don't know how
he
how
relates
knows.
to him, Craig. He knows.
I don't think Iron Man was bullied. I think he was the bully.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good character.
Maybe that's why he's like, you know what, I would have bullied you. That's how I know you've been bullied.
And also, like, the kid is kind of a little bit of a genius. He built a potato launching gun.
I'm pretty sure he just bought a kit.
Maybe he did buy a kit, but if he didn't buy a kit, if there's a lore, I'm sure there is a Wikipedia page dedicated, or whatever, Marvel Wiki page. It has this whole kid's life laid out.
There's no not Marvel, like, you know, Star Wars has all the expanded universe.
Yeah,
so there's no Marvel expanded universe book all about his backstory.
Maybe there is, and he's a child genius. We talk about multiple times. We don't like child geniuses in movies. It's a dumb trope. Kids are stupid. Unless
stupid.
you're Reed Richards as a kid, that's the only pass I can give.
But to be
Or like a
smart, you
Tony.
have to do smart. So you have to take classes, you have to know stuff. Like these kids are smart, but then they'll say, "Oh, I don't know what differential equations," because the writer has no idea what differential equations is, so they can't articulate why the guy is smart because they themselves are stupid.
They just throw around big words and things that sound smart to make this child genius, sound smart.
Yeah, like the big word was quantum, quantum this, quantum that. Now it's just throwing AI or neural networks on terror.
Yeah,
Everything.
nanites or whatever.
Oh, it's a neural computer, therefore it can do all this stuff.
What else, Craig? What else you like? What else did you not like?
So at this point in time in the comics, this is around the time where Norman Osborn was the Iron Patriot. So they repainted the War Machine armor as the Iron Patriot. And
I remember
immediately
that was a big deal when this came out. The Iron Patriot.
then of course, as they always do, they course correct. Immediately did a 180, went right back to the War Machine armor.
I didn't mind the War Machine, or not the War Machine, the Iron Patriot. Again, I really don't care about War Machine. He's a unfunnier, lesser version of Tony. So I never really liked War Machine to begin with. But the Iron Patriot, he is a part of the U.S. military. It's like a piece of propaganda, essentially. I don't care. I don't really care.
Well, my main problem with it is
The course
not so
correction,
much this
probably.
movie. Yes, the constant. He's War Machine. He's Iron Patriot, and I know he stayed War Machine for a long time after. But why even have like if you're going to commit, you should commit to it.
Maybe they did, but it was the perceived controversy, quote unquote. I don't know. All the 5 War Machine fans got upset and were complaining about it on Twitter.
No, I don't think this is addressed in the movie, but this is something I've thought about. So why is Iron Man okay? He was so big about the government not getting his stuff, but why is he okay with the government having the War Machine suit? And it's not like they only maintain it. They made Rhodey a new suit. The Iron Patriot suit. That's the Mark 2, I think.
Is
So
that? Did
they
they say
made.
that?
I'm pretty
I
sure
thought
because
they
the
just
one in
took it and they repainted it, and then when they gave it to the government, that's when they started doing their evil things. That's how they got control of it.
I'm pretty sure that's the War Machine Mark II.
You might be right. I really don't know.
Well, my point is, if they were able to make a new suit and the government can make new suits, because we see them upgrade the suit throughout the other Marvel movies, is Tony okay with them basically having the schematics to a suit? And if they do, why don't they make more?
See, that's why I think it's still the same original War Machine suit. They didn't build it, they just essentially hacked it.
I'm pretty sure it's a new suit.
Okay, well, when I'm looking this up, I'll check the Marvel Wiki section, Craig, on War Machine, and they'll have all the suits laid out for me. So
Well,
right
it's also
now,
leading to my
I can't
point of
speak on it.
why is he okay with this? I know it has nothing to do with the movie at all whatsoever. I understand that completely. I just don't understand why he's okay with, yeah, it's a new suit, Colin.
Oh, okay, well, I'm wrong.
Why he's okay with government being able to make War Machine suits, and if they can do it, why don't they make more?
That is a very good point.
This is
Yeah.
why I don't like the War Machine character at all. You can have Rhodey, but you can't have him as War Machine. Plus, I don't like the same character with the same powers running around.
It's not just the same powers, it's just like a degraded version of him.
'Cause I think they've tried to make War Machine have more firepower, but again, he's just given Iron Man's sloppy seconds. And he's
Well,
not as smart.
to my knowledge, too, well, he didn't build the suit. He's just a guy in the suit. Yeah, he's not as smart. Maybe he's smart military tactics, sure. But yeah, definitely
Doesn't
not.
seem like it.
Well, this War Machine, not in this movie, but War Machine after this, I just despise. And that's ignoring the fact that he didn't even see Tony die in Endgame because he was a stupid Skrull. He was taken over by Skrulls. They don't, yeah, I don't want to get started with War Machine. He's just a waste.
Like I said, this is probably the best of him.
Yes, yes.
Like he was good in the first one, and then this is probably the best overall War Machine. So for you 5 War Machine fans out there, eating good this movie.
Even if he's in the Iron Patriot suit. I think also
Which-
what I like too. Oh, sorry, you go before I change the subject.
No.
Oh, I was going to talk about. You mentioned the PTSD also. I think that was a good little addition to Tony too, where he'd constantly be suffering the panic attacks. Just make him more, well, not, I want to say relatable, but more vulnerable throughout the whole movie. He doesn't even have his suit, and he's vulnerable as is without it, but just the extra layer of his anxiety attacks, the PTSD from the attack on New York.
Well, like I said,
Nice
and
little
again,
layer.
that plays into his intelligence where he thinks he can control everything. And this plays into other movies too, where he's such a control freak that seeing an overwhelming threat freaks him out because he's so used to having the best weapons in the planet and being one of the most powerful guys in the room, not just, with his money, but now with his suit of armor.
Yeah.
So to see something that completely changes the dynamic of power in the MCU really freak him out.
One little thing, Craig.
Hierarchy of power is about to change.
I'm going to put on my CinemaSins glasses. How did
Do you have
Tony...
to?
Well, just for one thing. How did Tony buy all that equipment at the restaurant, not the restaurant, the store he went to buy all that equipment? Did he use a credit card?
Maybe he just walked out.
Okay, yeah. Maybe. That's what I was thinking about. I was like, did he use a credit card?
I mean, he could have, or maybe he just conveniently carries tons of 100s around him. Probably not.
I think also this is something I wish the movie, and this is really the trailer. I wish the trailer didn't show any of the house attack, even though that's a big action set piece. The trailers were littered with that. The trailer showed the whole scene essentially. When this movie came out, and I wish that was more of a surprise for the movie. And I guess as you don't have to see all the trailers, sure, but as fans, when you're anticipating, you're excited to see a new movie, you want to see the trailers. And I remember just seeing the movie too. I'm like, wow, they really showed everything in the trailers with this house attack. Nothing was really new
It's
or
funny you
unseen.
mentioned the trailer because I remember the trailers with most of it was the Mandarin actor voiceover. It was, I'm gonna teach you a lesson.
Yeah. You will never see me coming.
You'll never see me coming.
Yeah, so the trailers really sold the Mandarin being the villain. I guess that's why it was a good twist. But I'm trying to imagine watching it now. Like if you were to show somebody fresh, I don't think they would have been as surprised by the twist because you kind of need to watch the trailers. You have to be in the moment to kind of get the twist. So I feel like that's, like I said, negative for the twist. It's not bad. The movie still works, but I feel it's not as impactful as people who are anticipating the movie.
Yeah, that's true. I just wish, again, they didn't show a lot of the Malibu attack. Because that was, yeah, as you said, the trailers were just a voiceover from the Mandarin and then the house attack, and that was it. And the suits getting blown up.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Yeah. It was a good trailer, but they just showed everything with the house attack, and that was probably the most dramatic part of the movie.
Well, at least they didn't show you the twist like some other trailers do now, so.
Yes, at least they didn't do that. Good on them for not ruining their own movie.
Careful, Con. They clearly have not learned any of their lessons, so they probably do it again.
What else you got for me for Iron Man 3?
It's always nice to see unhappy Hogan.
He's sidelined in this movie, and granted, he really can't do much in the story. He's just a security guy, head of security now, but he really can't do anything too much.
I just think he's so funny, like how miserable he is. I love that's his name, Happy Hogan. He's the most miserable character in the world. I know he appeared in other movies, but I don't feel like it's as well when he's not with Iron Man. I mean, when he's like talking to Deadpool, it just feels weird. When he's talking to Spider-Man, like is his father, son
Yeah, it's a
dynamic,
little
it's just
weird.
weird.
Yeah, he works with Stark. Well, also, they have that relationship where they've known each other for years and years. So they have that, what's the word I'm looking for? They have that,
Just have that relationship with each other.
rapport. They have that
Yeah.
rapport. And yeah, when he's talking to Deadpool and Spider-Man, it's a little weird.
Because like honestly,
It's
who is this
forced.
guy? He's the former bodyguard for Tony Stark. It's not like he's some old warrior who can no longer keep up in the fight. It's not like it's maybe say an old Nick Fury giving you a pep talk who was a agent for decades. It's Iron Man's bodyguard.
Yes.
It's not some important character. So him in these small roles, it's fun to see him when he's giving a pep talk to Spider-Man because whoever someone died or I don't know.
Because
Not
he
as
thinks
impactful.
Aunt May is hot and he wants to be with Aunt May. He doesn't really like Spider-Man. He's just saddled with him. I'm not talking about Spider-Man, Craig. I did the MCU Spider-Man. He's going to get me mad.
Well, I'm trying to say like this is the instance where he works well.
Oh, yeah. I agree.
Iron Man was bullying him.
Well, he gets bullied in like the first 3 movies all the time.
Yes, but it's fun to see him get bullied and see him be very unhappy. So we talked about how we kind of liked Aldrich Killian, but his
Mhm.
motivation is not the best. He got stood up by Iron Man,
Uh-huh.
and this kind of started the trend of how many villains are not just Iron Man created, but for the dumb reasons why he created them. It's not like I can understand why Ironmonger doesn't like him. You're kind of pushing it with Whiplash, but here it really felt forced. Okay, you got stood up by him 13 years ago. At that point, dude, just move on.
Yeah.
Like I can't really feel bad for you when you're kind of creating the trauma to make yourself the victim in your own head.
But he kind of did use that anger towards the AIM stuff.
Which is fine. Oh, good. You took that moment and embedded yourself and made something really good. You don't have to get revenge on Iron Man or take over the world.
Yeah. I will say, though, at least his line of reasoning, and not so much his motivation, but it makes more sense than, let's say, Ironmonger, which we talked about, where his plan is all kind of happenstance. And he indirectly created Iron Man, because Tony was on his side, remember in the first movie? So he really didn't have a reason to try to kill him, because Tony was making weapons. It was him trying to kill his botched assassination attempt on Tony is what created Iron Man.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Obadiah Stane's plan doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, and I know this was a very big commentary in the War on Terror, which again went over people's heads, even though it was as subtle as a boulder hitting you in the face.
But yeah,
People didn't seem to
you
understand
go.
his plan that he was, again, like the War on Terror, he had this vague, ominous threat, like Osama bin Laden, that he's the guy we got to get, and he's the face of evil when people behind the scenes are kind of scot-free to do whatever they want.
Oh, for a second, I thought you were talking about Obadiah Stane.
Oh, no.
Uh,
I was talking
You're talking about the
about,
Mandarin.
yeah.
You know, I just looked at my computer screen and then you start saying the War on Terror, and I was thinking to myself, did I miss that from Iron Man, the first one?
No. And I know we're in that age group where we did, we were alive when 9/11 happened,
Mm-hmm.
but we weren't of the age where the War on Terror was really occupying our minds much. We were kids.
Yeah.
But even as kids, I could see the very, very, very obvious allusions to the War on Terror. And
Yeah, I think, at least for Iron Man, it's another antagonist with a grudge. But I
well,
guess
just a grudge,
maybe,
a forced grudge.
yeah, but maybe you can say that Tony creates his demons. I don't know. Maybe that's a stretch, but I can maybe see that's what they're trying to go with. And obviously, Tony tells you point blank, the narration is that the past comes back to haunt you. He tells
Yes,
everyone
but
that.
that's kind of been his thing throughout the entire MCU is his past coming back, not just haunt him, but his allies and friends.
Yeah, so maybe that's why they went with that kind of angle for Killian. You could say it wasn't fully developed, which I would agree with, but again, Tony is his own worst enemy in some regards. He just creates problems for himself.
Which I think is accurate, but I don't know if you should really do that the third time in a row, or at
I
least
agree.
try to switch it up.
I agree. But at least they went with that angle, but they had the twist with the Mandarin, so I can respect that more than Mr. Ivan Vanko, who wants revenge.
Or the Vulture, or
Oh,
Mysterio,
well, yes. All Iron Man villains,
or
by the way.
Zemo. Although Zemo, I think, at least makes more sense.
Yes, but it's just sad how many Iron Man villains there are in the MCU. But
Not just Iron Man villains, people that Tony Stark has annoyed so much that they want him dead. Like, I wonder, like, what's the ratio of people who like him and people who want him dead? Like, is it 50-50 people like, I like him, I kind of want him dead?
yeah,
I wonder what's the split.
the Iron Man villains in the MCU are Obadiah Stane, Whiplash, Aldrich Killian, Vulture, Mysterio. That's a lot. And mind you, Craig, Iron Man only has 3 solo movies.
Well, Ultron, how could we forget Ultron?
Oh, Ultron. Well, yeah, that's true. Ultron.
And
At
I
least
know
that
Thanos
made
wasn't
yeah, that made more sense at least.
Thanos isn't specifically an Iron Man villain, but he seems to be the one with the biggest grudge against Iron Man and vice versa.
Yeah.
Maybe not Thanos to Iron Man, but Iron Man really hates Thanos.
Can't say I blame him.
Oh, true, but it makes it more personal to him than anybody else on the cast.
Yes, yes.
But obviously exceptions, but
What else you got for me?
so I know there was, I guess, two main, well, I guess another thing after this, but two cameos.
Uh-huh.
They brought back Ho Jensen, which was nice to see him,
Yes, in the very beginning.
because he plays a big role in his development, so happy to see him back. And there was the kind of lame post-credit scene where it was Iron Man having therapy with Bruce Banner.
Yeah, and he's like, sorry, I nodded off. I didn't hear all that.
Yeah, but not the best end credit scene. I feel like this was sort of,
To
I
be
don't know if
honest,
they knew what
I
to do.
didn't watch that post-credit scene. I completely forgot about it. But it's so lame that my brain actually remembers it from watching it in the theaters.
Kind of wish you forgot.
Yeah, that's like one of the ones I actually remember, despite only seeing it once. Don't forget the Stan Lee cameo, Craig.
Yeah, but that's in every of these movies.
I
so
know.
So we never saw these scenes, and I never really cared to look at them online. You know, there's a special cut for China, right?
Oh boy. I can imagine that it is tastefully cut, Craig.
So
That's a joke, by the way.
I don't think the Chinese scenes added much to the movie. I think they had an extra actor when he was getting the shrapnel moved. I think he went to China, had a Chinese scientist remove it, as opposed to just. I don't think they really touched upon that in the. No. In the movie they had it where it was removed, but in the Chinese one, I think they had a little more scenes with the doctor removing it.
Oh, yes. Okay, so on the Wikipedia, it says a cut of the film produced for release exclusively in China includes additional scenes featuring Wang and an appearance by Fan Bingbing as one of his assistants. Who is Wang? Who is that? Is that the doctor you said?
Yeah, who removes the shrapnel.
Oh, okay, yeah. Wang, I don't know how to
Don't even
pronounce
try.
that. Briefly plays Dr. Wu in the general release of the film. When you said the Chinese cut, the special Chinese cut, Craig, in my mind, as we all know, the Chinese
They cut out
government,
Rhodey from the movie.
I thought you're gonna say there's gonna be less Rhodey. They infamously redid the poster for Star Wars Episode 7, where I believe Finn had a very central point on the poster, and then they just minimized him and put him like in the corner. So I thought you were gonna say that they like cut down a bunch of scenes of Rhodey.
Could you imagine they just cut Rhodey from the entire movie, so this movie
That'd
doesn't
be
even make
that'd
sense?
be so terrible. When
So
he's talking to
Schmeko.
Rhodey he's in the same frame as RDJ, right? They just zoom in on Tony, and he's just looking to his left talking to somebody, but it just zoomed in on Tony.
It's terrible, but I can almost see them doing that.
Yeah, so I'm glad when you said the Chinese cut, Greg, I thought you were going down that route.
Because this is one of the first instances of, at least for me, hearing about the Chinese cut of movies.
And we all know Marvel bends over backwards to get that Chinese money, Craig.
And what is it giving them? Nothing. I'm pretty sure their movies are getting blocked, not doing well anymore.
Yes.
That's why you don't sell out to China.
Oh, that Fan Bingbing, Craig, she played Blink in X-Men Days of Future Past.
Was she, what's that name? Oh, you said Blink, right? Was that her
Blink
name?
from Days of Future Past.
Yes. Well, with the portals. I don't see, there's so many X-Men characters. I don't remember all their names, but I know she made the portals.
Yeah, the portals, and then she gets brutally killed.
Yeah, she got stabbed a bunch of times. Oh, another thing I always find funny in these movies where Iron Man's over-the-top technology, when he recreates the bomb sight scene,
Oh yeah,
And he has
yeah.
such he has more detail than the police had. There's no cameras, but he's able to get so much more detail than is probably available in the real world. And he recreates it perfectly. Has like a guy holding something, and it's just over the top.
Yeah, I was never really a fan. Again, this is just such a minor thing. I was never really a fan of this interactive hologram technology that they have.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure just the Iron Man on set, just like pointing and doing like all these weird motions to try to, and this guy's like, "Oh God, why is he doing that?" Now I gotta like make something to spin in this way because he keeps moving his hand. Yeah, I'm not a fan of it either. And again, not that it ruins the movie, but just the technology is just so silly. Oh, one more controversial thing was the ending, which people I think misinterpreted when he blew up the suits. It wasn't him fully giving up on Iron Man. It was more about him kind of not obsessing anymore.
It's kind of like a
Because at
fresh
the
start
end,
for him.
because at the end he says, "I am Iron Man." Like he didn't give up being the hero. He just realized that he doesn't need to be obsessing building suits in his doomsday bunker.
And Jarvis even says early in the movie, like in the very beginning, actually, when he is putting those things in for Mark 42, Jarvis says, "Sir, you haven't slept in 72 hours."
Yeah, he was being very unhealthy with making these suits, and then blowing them up was not saying he's retiring as Iron Man.
Yeah, he's kind of giving himself a fresh start. He's not going to be as obsessive anymore. And he even got rid of all the shrapnel in his chest. So from this, after this movie, Craig, he no longer has the arc reactor underneath his shirts.
Yeah, which is kind of it's it became so iconic. I remember people had costumes where you could like tape a little LEDs to your chest. You could have it poking out through your shirt.
Now,
But
out of
because he
all the
stopped,
things Marvel demanded for merchandising reasons, right? You think that would
Mhm.
be not one of those decisions. Like, they wouldn't do that. They'd want to make little arc reactors where you could put on your t-shirt, like Tony. Guess not.
I mean, they kind of had that with the Endgame suit, but it's just not the same.
No, that's stupid nano stuff. I don't like that.
Yeah, me neither.
I like my real suits, even though there wasn't a practical suit in this movie.
Oh, one more negative that I had was the ending.
Tell me.
Not the ending where he quote unquote gives up being Iron Man, but how they defeat the man. Instead of Iron Man defeating him with the
Oh,
smarts,
yeah.
Pepper just beats him up and like she somehow rips apart the armor and shoots a little bullet and blows up in his face and he kills him.
Yeah. I wish Tony delivered the final blow.
Yeah,
Especially
using his
because
smarts.
yeah, well, also, especially because the whole contention of the movie was because of his obsession with Tony and how much he thinks Tony wronged him. So wouldn't it make more sense for Tony to deliver the final blow?
That and if the whole point is that he's not, if he's the hero, he himself, it's his brain that makes him the hero, not his suits, not Pepper. You know, because a lot of these movies, I feel they don't want to be bad to women, so they'll give them unnecessary things to do. So instead of Iron Man defeating the villain he should be defeating, they make Pepper do it. When it's not really about Pepper overcoming the villain, it's Iron Man's struggle to overcome the villain, prove that he is the hero without the suit. He doesn't need his suits, he doesn't need some extremist powered woman to go defeat the villain for him. He is the hero.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree.
So it should have been like blowing up the Mark 42 failed, and he had to come up with something on the fly to defeat him.
But
But
at
that
least
was
the fight leading up to that was good. So it doesn't
yeah, just a
ruin the
nitpick. It
whole
just
movie. Yeah.
it doesn't, but it's just I think bad storytelling. You should always have your hero defeat the villain,
Yes, I agree. I do agree with that.
and especially in a way that makes sense. Don't have him, call an orbital airstrike. Like he should be. The whole point is that he's the hero. Just use his brains. And instead of the brain versus brawn that was happening at the end, you think you would have brain winning, not a different brawn back you up and beat up the guy for you.
You would think.
Oh, this is a little side thing, but this was, I think, one of the first times they referenced the president. I think he appeared in a bunch of other stuff.
Did
President
he?
Ellis, I think he appeared. Yeah, he appeared in, I think, Winter Soldier.
Did he?
So I think they said, yeah, I think he said like "Welcome back, Cap," or he had something where yeah, he was the president. I think of instead of Obama at the time. Then obviously we have the movie where Red Hulk becomes the president.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And what was your? Because I do think it was funny when when they get to the Mandarin and they realize he's just some drunken actor. I know people hate that scene, but it was kind of funny.
I
Just
think
like
it was
the
pretty natural reactions. They're trying to figure out what's happening because they're so thrown off.
yeah, like it really was a twist. Because even as the audience, you're trying to figure out like, is this real? Like,
Yeah, I
is he
remember
just playing drunk and
he's like, "No, I'm just an actor. I'm just an actor."
yeah, his whole accent changes and he's like, I'm just an actor from so and so.
Again,
I don't even know what's going
liked,
on.
yeah, I like the twist. I like the twist.
I know people even hate that scene too, where they first meet him and they're like, it's just some drunken actor, some dumb actor. And it's like, well, is it really that different from most actors? And he's just a guy. That's the twist.
Well, again, to your point too about let's say the little obvious thing on the War of Terror is the whole thing was that the Mandarin was just a distraction piece, and there was more behind the scenes that no one knows about. That was the whole point.
Yes. Again, people went over people's heads. I don't think I ever see people talk about that part of the movie, which is, I know it's very obvious, but don't really see people mention it.
Well, now people can listen to hear it from here, Craig.
Oh yeah, where they get their very unbiased, factual takes on movies. So now at the end of these, you always ask me where to rank these movies. Now, I don't know if you've kept track of where we rank them, but where would
I
you
have
rank?
not. I think I'd put this in the A tier. I think I really liked it, and I think I never understood why people hated this. I think it's a pretty good movie, start to finish. It has a lot of memorable sequences, fun character moments, fun set pieces. It's a good start to phase two, is what I'll say.
Yeah, my A, B, or A tier, depending on how this all ranks, this all shakes out, but definitely one of the better movies.
Yes, definitely one of the better Marvel movies, and definitely the best sequel to an Iron Man movie.
You don't count Civil War?
Well, technically Cap, but
Well, the actor said he considers Captain America 3 also Iron Man 4. So take that.
oh, okay. Well, I have to rewatch Civil
I know,
War
I know,
when we
I
get
know.
there.
It's just semantics.
We'll rewatch Civil War when we get there. So,
We get there. When we get there.
do you have anything else for me, Craig, for Iron Man 3?
Nope. I think we've said everything that needs to be said, and
Yeah.
we consider this movie case closed. No one should ever do a review after us now. We covered
Yes.
everything possible.
I think I would recommend it. Craig, would you?
Yes, I would also recommend this. It's
Yeah.
definitely not. I mean, people might say it's a skip in the MCU, which I guess there's
Maybe
not.
long term, yeah. Like long term of the MCU, but I think it's a solid entry.
Oh yeah, solid entry. Like when people say skipping stuff, I feel like that's.
That's like the
I
Captain
just-
Marvel, honestly, like those kind of movies.
I mean, to be honest, I'm more of the opinion you should try to watch as much as you can because I feel like you always get the story is richer when you have the conclusion of a long story. Like you don't really skip TV episodes. You really shouldn't skip this. I know technically you might be able to. I know you mentioned Captain Marvel, which I would skip for other reasons than just being a bad movie.
Well, yeah.
But yes, good movie. I recommend it. Don't skip it.
Don't skip it. Watch it. So all that being said, Craig, this has been the Unbiased Opinion, where everyone's opinion is biased except ours. I'm Colin.
I'm the wormhole.
How did you get out the wormhole?
We will see you next time.